that do like to take their time, like Alliance, going to be able to rotate from that north side.
Here we get an overview of a couple of those teams on the separate levels of Stormcatcher. Most of these teams won't have too much to do for a while, but NRG looking to get a little bit active. I mean, look, almost 400 energy ammo in the bag now for Nocturnal. May as well use some of that to try and get purple before it is too late.
More than enough for him to work with while they stay posted up here. And we saw the shots onto Noct earlier because it's C9 who are also within this building. A lot of areas here actually in Stormcatcher within the building itself that a lot of teams could split hold while Bleed on the high ground also going to be able to look down at all the teams that have gone for a slower rotate who didn't have that POI advantage. Falcons being one of them who are on the southeast side of Command Center out by the tree.
NRG was such a powerhouse for such a long time. Top finishes in North America in the Pro League. Top finishes at LAN, and then we had a drop-off for them. There were some people who I think who didn't believe. Said, hey, maybe Nocturnal's a bit too old. Maybe he should be retiring. Well, he's looking to shut them up right here and right now.
Hodsick, their coach, sitting in the back like, that is crazy while he's still standing there. But let's be honest, you know, you and I were able to talk to Energy, specifically Nocturnal, and they really didn't sound too confident while we were in transit on the way over here before day one even started. Yet here they are in the finals lobby, sitting at match point, sitting in the middle of Stormcatcher. But if this circle ends up continuously pulling up towards the north, we know what that's going to mean for the teams that would have to funnel in that direction, for the teams that already have height up on top of the hill.
Yeah, exactly. If it is one of those Thunderwatch hill endings, it can be very hard to play, right? Newcastle will help you. There are some spots on the way up that hill. Usually they've got too many sight lines. You're running back and forth, popping bang smokes behind you, in front of you, trying to juggle the aggro of other teams. But all of a sudden, if you've got a permanent place to play behind with the Newcastle wall, it could be very doable. And it's Enter Force 36 and Guild, the match point team, who are currently on the northern side of that hill.
What's scary about this is, aside from Guild, on that north side, you have to imagine the other different edge teams that are also sitting at match point. Alliance over by the west side, exiting out of Command Center.
We're having a look at SSG on the backside here of Secret. Now, there's a window, but it's closing of when they can come in here and start trying to take position behind those other teams like TSM and Makers. And if SSG wait too long, they could themselves get wrapped up by Complexity or Moist.
But Complexity actually end up moving away from that DBZ building next to the Evil Harvester by Cliffside, so SSG actually don't have to worry too hard about a team trying to contest them on the edge of that zone. Until they have to move in, though, you know there's a lot of open area once that circle is forced to close behind your back, and there's teams like Dreamfire that have found space inside that building off to the side of Stormcatcher, and then even Complexity could look at them if they're safe behind that gas station.
I mean, I guess SSG have options, though, because they could go through Secret, but as this map shows, there will be a bit of space in front of them, close to the area where Dark Zero took home land.
Also have to watch out for a team that may want to end up rotating in that direction. Makers being on that low ground. TSM having to look at their backs. Now Moist, though, have actually opted to commit to rotating off through the Spider Caves south of Space Station.
This is the perfect spot for Not Moist. I think if you're coming in this late in the game, this is an area with a little bit of space and a little bit of separation from the other teams that you can try and play for a powerful spot that hopefully you don't get third-partied on. With Complexity ahead of them, they have to worry and hope that they don't start looking at their backs too soon.
It's scary, though, because when you're in a position like Not Moist, when you're so close to match point and you could find yourself possibly pinched, they hear the crypto drone from Complexity flying around them, Space Station 2, looking at Not Moist. Not Moist may want to opt to just end up rotating from the south side, take a little bit of that ring damage because it's less contested, but although when that circle does end up showing where it's going to pull, this really will determine whether Not Moist stays in this spot, fights for this position, or if they want to go from the south side up the hill where Noctem is at.
And they'll get that info in less than 10 seconds. A couple of teams still within command center, by the way. Furia, Alliance, all playing around that area. They might even be able to hide in that little part where the gravity cannon comes out the top. It's a big shift. I'm not sure that was a gasp I heard across the crowd there as they realized it wouldn't be the hill, but in fact Stormcatcher and the buildings to the east of it where the circle will end.
Where all these teams are on top of each other. Guild would be forced to slide down. The same thing for Gaming, not Moist. Now taking the shots onto Space Station after seeing the circle pull. They aren't going to wrap from the south. They want to commit to moving here, and Complexity aren't going to contest them outside the building.
I mean, you can see Waltz is actually taking a bunch of zone damage right now, just looking for that extra angle to pen SSG in. We said SSG have got options, but Moist trying to take those options away from them.
And that's the opening right here for Moist. They lose out on Phony, who cannot get away even when he was able to pop that shield bad just briefly before Walsey was trying to take it off angle. And TSM, by the way, are hearing this fight go down. They're actually appearing from the bunker doors, not Moist. See SSG in their line of sight. We see Yuka taking shots with the Kraber. It is fighting non-stop from the south side of here. Yuka gets the knock. Onto Nocturne here. Fnatic playing by the turn. He's able to reset here with his shield. He shoots right with the Havoc on the other side. An EMP following up because VKG are also looking at this fight happening between Nocturne and Fnatic.
A lot of teams now swinging a little further south. And Fnatic, they need to clear out this position ahead of them. Zainu, the single member left alive as he fires some parting shots at Moist, who actually try and fly into the zone. They don't want the walk up. Interesting decision as we go back down south to the gravity cannon.
Oh, Yuka getting the finishing blow here. Moist currently at 47 points, by the way, after they were able to get those initial knocks into Space Station with some help from TSM. Now, as TSM fully collapsed onto Makers, it was inevitable, and TSM have now cleared that bunker cliffside building. They still are by the lip of the platform, but they will eventually have to move.
They could jump down. GG will be below them, welcoming them into the next zone. SSG, Zainu trying to rat now near Dreamfire and Complexity. I'm expecting this zone to shift to the east away from the main Stormcatcher building. And yes, it goes directly on top of Dreamfire and Complexity.
Zainu still alive, trying to make a play with the mother load. Well, the fighting now has finally begun after the teams have funneled their way outside of Command Center. Furia, by the way, are still on top of the very high ground of Command Center where the gravity cannon is, and they can actually third-party this fight if they time it properly.
I mean, let's say this game were to end now. Zainu staying alive a bit longer could mean that SSG maintain that second spot. When 5 points behind them, Fnatic and Alliance trying desperately to both catch up and finish it here and now.
Let's not forget, second place walks away with $160,000. Still having to play for that money. As we see the circle pulling towards Complexity and Dreamfire towards the east of this POI. Falcons get eliminated. It is Alliance blasting away at Falcons' dreams. 17 plus left and Furia. They take the gravity cannon. They try to time it and they jump unlucky.
Hackett, as we said, trying to get above SSG right now. Can he do it? The EMP comes out.
Wait a minute, Hockey's trying to be the savior. He's got help from Tyler. He's able to reset his shield. Madness is out of there. You also saw in your feeds that Space Station get eliminated. Higher possibility here with Alliance now. Looking to see where that straggler is from Fury. They cannot find him. So now this has to be the chance for them to make moves because the circle's closing in and they're feeling pressure from NRG, who are on that height. Fnatic fly in. They find space underneath a Stormcatcher, but we know how open these different angles are in this position.
Multiple teams are going to be watching Alliance as the zone chases them in. It's going to be a struggle to do anything more. Alliance actually getting the respawn in just at that moment. In the meantime, Fnatic have taken a hit.
Waiting out for his smoke nades. 5 more seconds, and he's still in the line of sight of a team on the low ground. Oh, Yuka with the Kraber! He is moving, breaking ankles, finds madness. 15 squads left. He can't shoot through the smoke here, but he is going to try to come into the res. But Alliance are waiting right on top of them.
Meanwhile, from the north, Guild come down the hill. They sneak in. Only 1 point from a placement point have they accrued this game, but I like their position. Somehow Alliance make it into this next ring, but Tyler gets removed just as quickly as they exit from the dropship.
4 teams that are a match point are left in this lobby as Alliance get taken down. Guild being one of them, now looking at Fnatic, TSM, and Gaming Gladiators safely inside of that only northern building in that next zone. It is going to be a bloodbath for the teams that have to rotate out of Stormcatcher.
GG take that position away from Dreamfire, someone who could have kept the series running.
What? Madness with the clutch res. He has brought back the rest of Furia in this lobby.
It feels crazy that Furia are sitting down at 18th spot right now after the tournament that they have had. Someone like VKG, a lot further up, not moist, up to 49 points now. Them and VKG searching for those last few points to try and get across the line.
Look at Not Moist right now. They are sitting with 49 points. They need 1 more kill to also be at match point. Playing this methodically here on that south side of Stormcatcher, up on the high ground, the circle closing in. Can they get that KP as Fnatic are also going for a crazy res? Furia getting eliminated in 12. Guild Esports playing off the low ground by the fence line, by the buildings.
Yeah, they just sneak into this next zone. Great spot for Guild, as long as they just need a little bit here to set up, and they're going to be in such a great spot. Not Moist. Coming in now, Fnatic, Cloud9, so many teams stream towards the circle, but many of them won't make it.
Can't destroy the EMP in town. Right now, Moist confirmed at 50 points. Moist at match points officially. Guild, though, still alive here on the other side.
They get across to 50 points, but they would still need that 1 more win, Vicky. ItzTiimmy, though. I don't know if he's going to survive this without the rest of his teammates. And we've still got so many teams, 3 left alive with the match point eligibility right now.
And Moist aren't the only team that now are sitting at match point. TSM need only 1 more kill to meet them in the match point club. Can they do it? C9 on the other side of Guild, but it's going to be difficult. You still have 3 teams that are match point alive in this end circle out of the 7.
Well, we've got 2 buildings on either side of this zone. It's actually very equally distributed. They're both going to have to get out of this as they come from the south and the north. Eventually, they'll bleed these buildings, and we'll see who will be left alive.
TSM at 50 points. They officially make it to match point. And Timmy trying to stay alive, but Moist get eliminated. But they've done enough. Now, their hopes and dreams waiting to see the outcome of this lobby.
Guild are starting to move around now. I like this. They want to clear out Cloud9 from this position. They know that their side of the fence will get taken out of the zone first, so they make a move. They're proactive, and as we can see now, Cloud9 from down the hill are going to have a problem.
Calm before the storm. Look where energy is positioned, taking shots from the cable cart. Bleed playing right underneath them. Guild playing off the fence line. C9 looking at Guild as C9 are going to desperately be in the line of sight of both Guild and Bleed.
Okay, Mozam's Eva come out now as Guild are getting into an unlucky fight here and will get taken out. Unfortunately, the engagement with Cloud9 happens at the same time. TSM and Bleed still trying to keep this series going, but NRG are well set up here.
The TSM chants are ringing through the crowd now. This is their moment. The double catwall that you saw. Gaming Gladiators hiding behind the Newcastle knockdown, but he does not have a gold knockdown down shield. They do not get the full reset as quickly as they want, as now NRG are forced to collapse on Bleed.
Oh no, Bleed take a knock, and NRG looks so safe behind all of their walls. 5 teams. 4 teams now left alive. Reptar with even the overshield to help him through this last circle.
Is this the moment though? NRG in a tough position. TSM hailing from the high ground, looking like vultures. This is their moment. Unless you think we have more games of Apex. TSM versus Bleed and TSM. Keep this series going.
Relief, elation, confidence. All of those flowing out of the different members of TSM right now. Once it would have been Raven shaking their hand, but Talmadge taking the helm.
Remember, I did say TSM and 8, except they weren't at match point yet.
I think you might have left something out there.
Oh, they win game 8. The sigh of relief as we get more Apex Legends at the Split 2 playoffs. They heard the chants. They felt your energy. Huge dub here for TSM. Imagine in that final circle, Gino. It was Bleed versus TSM. We even had Gaming Gladiators out there, Guild on top of it. How close that could have been. And just ending it right there. Now we welcome even more teams on match point.
2 more. TSM with a big win. Shoot